All right, hello. So
Hi.
we are here with New Mama Group. I am Brooklyn, creator founder of Boo Boos, and this is Megan Drake. And Megan is an amazing, amazing supporter of moms. She's been an amazing supporter of us and Boo Boos. And as we get started, she has two boys, Felix and Riker. And Felix is the baby, right?
Riker's the baby. Felix is my toddler.
Okay. Okay. And how many months are they apart?
They are 22 months apart. So Felix just turned 2 last week, and Riker is 2, almost 3 months.
Cool. So that's exactly what mine are too.
Oh, nice.
And then you also have a blog and you do some
Hmm.
influencer stuff online
Yep.
or on social media. Um, cool. Is there anything else that you want me to, or not me, but you want to introduce about yourself? Oh, you also mentioned I that you were a Navy wife.
Yes. Yeah. My husband is in the Navy. Yep.
Where do you guys live?
We live in Pensacola, Florida. We just moved here a little over a year ago.
Okay.
So,
How long has he been in the Navy?
oh, wow. He's been in the Navy 14, almost 14 years. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we've been married about 5 years. So that's been definitely interesting. We always joke that he's been gone like as much as we've been together. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure like that is its own thing, right? Like that's
oh yeah,
I can't. I get upset with my husband when he like works too late, and I'm like, I have to cook and do all of this stuff, and
yeah.
that's not even close. How has he been able to be home with the kids?
So right now he is on what they call shore duty. So he is not deploying for the 3 years that we're here in Florida, which is really nice. But we have done 3 deployments since we've been dating. We always, joke around because we started dating and he deployed 2 months later, and then we got married and he deployed 2 weeks later. And then I got pregnant and he deployed. So he actually wasn't home when Felix was born. He was actually on deployment on a ship. So now he's home. He was here for Riker's birth. So it's very different. I'm like used to him being gone all the time, but it's really nice to have him home with the kids now.
Yeah. Is that like tell me about that. Is it harder? I'm and totally like I'm completely naive to this, so correct me on any part of it. But like I imagine almost like you would get into a flow, right, of how you do things and then him coming home, like that has to be challenging, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely after Felix was born, because I parented him by myself for 4 months. So, I had my own routine with him and we were kind of like in a flow. And then Levi came home and I kind of had to like not only introduce him to his baby, but kind of like, this is kind of how things go around here. But you also want them to be involved and, I don't want him to come in and be like, this is how things run with the kid, like with our son, you know what I mean? So you kind of have to like figure like things out and kind of, I don't know, kind of you're reintroducing your life together. That's a bad way to phrase it, but you know what I mean? Like there's definitely an adjustment period.
For sure, because I mean I even feel like that again. I have nowhere near that experience, but even just during the day, and my husband will come home and he'll like uh, discipline or something different.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's not how we do it. I'm like, what? Who am I to say that? Like he's his
Yeah.
next parent, but that's just on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm just totally that person that's like, I kind of like things a certain way. And, I kind of am very much like the decision maker for our kids. So whenever he does something and it's not the way I do something, I have to kind of remind myself to let go. And like, I'm
yes,
not the only parent. Like he's got to be able to do things that he wants to do too. And, as long as we're on the same page as far as parenting goes, then, there's really no reason for me to like try to be a control freak about it. But
right.
yeah, I totally am right there with you.
Yeah. So tell me about like when, especially with your situation with like him being gone, how long were you guys married before you decided to have kids? Was that like him being home or being gone part of the decision or timing?
Yeah, so we kind of decided we wanted to start having kids a couple years after we got married. Um, and we knew there was a deployment on the horizon. And so when we were finally like, okay, now is the time, we thought, well, we'll wait until right before he goes, because he was going to be gone for 7 months.
Okay.
So like, if we'll get pregnant right before he goes, and then he'll be home in time.
Yeah.
But then there's the flip side of it is, you never know how long it's going to take for you to get pregnant. So I was like, well, I don't want to wait until the month before you leave. And then, it takes us a while, and I didn't want to wait 7 more months to have a baby. So I can't remember the exact timeline. Well, I think he deployed in November and we got pregnant in August.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I could be totally wrong.
Okay.
But he left. No, that's not right. Because he left like right at the beginning of my 3rd trimester. Anyway. So we decided, a few months before that, we're like, okay, we'll go ahead and start trying, like, just in case it takes us a while to get pregnant. And of course I fell pregnant right away.
Yeah.
So, but we knew we were taking that chance. We knew, like, if we get pregnant right away, that he would be gone. And luckily my parents lived in the same city as us. So my mom was actually the one who was there with me for Felix's birth.
Awesome.
So it all worked out.
And
I don't know. It's funny because I didn't know it any other way. So, and I was so used to him being gone, and I was like, well, we're just going to do it. I wasn't like freaking out about it. I was like, if it happens, then we'll just handle it.
That's awesome. So you said he came back at 4 months, and then was he able to be home for?
Yeah. So that was the last deployment that he did.
Awesome.
So yeah, he's been home since Felix was 4 months old.
Okay. And then through Rikers, and what was his experience like with Riker? Like, being there for the birth, and did he love it, or was he like?
Yeah, he is so funny, because when we were talking about getting pregnant the first time around, he was like, I don't even want to be in the room when you're having the baby. And I was like, you're going to be in there. Like, before we knew that, a deployment was going to happen, I was like, this is your baby too. You're going to be in there. But of course, it worked out that he wasn't. But yeah, with Riker, he, would comment all the time, like, because he left when I was about 26 weeks with Felix, I think. And so, well in my 3rd trimester, he'd be like, I've never seen you this pregnant before, and stuff like that. And then he was, right there with me the whole time. I've been very fortunate, and my labors moved super fast. So he was actually not home when I went into labor, and he came home and we left for the hospital, and Riker was born like an hour and a half later. So
good for you.
Yeah. So he was, kind of there and holding my hand through things. But I mean, he's very stoic. Okay. So I don't think it fazed him that much. Or at least he hasn't told me if it did. But no, it was nice to have him there, and just, to see, you always have that moment where you see like your baby with your husband or your significant other for the first time, and like to have that this time around was really special.
Yeah, for sure. And how is Felix doing with the little brother?
He's great. He's had his moments. Felix is very much a daddy's boy. So, I didn't think he would get jealous of me with the baby, and he really hasn't, except for, if he's not feeling well and he like feels like he needs special attention, then he'll kind of, he's, hit him a few times. So, but most of the time he's really sweet. He'll come up and give him kisses. He wants to like hold his hand. He'll, go over and say, shh, baby, when he's crying. Like he's been very sweet. Felix is a really sensitive soul. So it's been really sweet to see him with his little brother.
That's awesome. It's so fun. Like, because it seems like such a big age difference when they're little, and then as they start to get a little bit older, you're like, oh, like you see them interacting more. And it's cool to see that whole development.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about that.
Our daughter went from like, oh, it's okay, Izzy, it's okay, to now if I'm driving and they're in the back seat, she'll say, stop crying, Izzy. Stop crying. What we say to the baby.
Yeah.
Like, now she's 10 months, almost 11 months now, so she's starting to get in her sister's space more, and like we're seeing a bit of that happen.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine what they're going to be like once Riker's a little bit older and they're playing together.
Yeah, it's like a whole new ball game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure.
And it's changing all the time. So it's like, you know, I think we talked about this a little bit before we started, but like every week is so different. Every
Mm-hmm.
day is different. It's just crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So are you like, I know this is a super personal question, but like, are you all in like, let's have more kids, or now with 2, is the game kind of changed for you?
Oh, no, we absolutely want more kids.
Cool.
I would love to have 4, but I don't know if that's realistic for us. So I think we at least want 1 more.
Cool.
There are definitely days where, you know, one or the other or both like just doesn't want to nap and everybody's crying and things are crazy where I'm like, I can't do another baby.
Totally.
But
yeah.
I know like we both know that we want to at least have 1 more. So we'll see.
Cool. And as long as you guys are on the same page, like we're in the exact same boat where we're like, oh, we don't know. And then, but neither of us is committed.
Yeah.
So it's like if we have one of those days, which is happening a lot lately, and both kids are sick and we're sick, and then we're both like, okay, no more kids. And then the next day we're like, so it's
yeah.
it's
Well, you know, I think it's good if you aren't sure that you're ready to kind of close that chapter, to always just leave the option open. It's not like you have to, you know, have another baby right now, but
totally. Well, and it is, you know, I've had a lot of conversations with women lately, and there's really not a lot of great options.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for us, it's almost like by not committing to not, we're kind of leaving the door open for it to happen, right?
Right.
Like it's like by us not saying, yeah, we're cutting it off, is like, okay, if we might have another kid. And
Mm-hmm.
it's tough. Like that's a tough place to be, the 2 little ones, and not.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and for us, it's tricky, you know, figuring out the timing, because we have a little less than 2 years left before he's going to be, you know, up for deployments again. So it's like, do we have another one close in age again? Or like, do we wait a little longer and then you could be deployed again? Which I don't know if I could do 3 babies. Or, you know, it's different from having 3 kids and him going away versus having 2 babies and then bringing a newborn into the mix. Totally. I was like, one during deployment was about all I could handle, I think. But yeah, so we haven't really talked about it, but it's something that's on my mind a lot, even though Riker's only 2 months old, is kind of like, well, when should we try for the next one, you know?
Yeah. It's hard. And it's all of like so many women
Mm-hmm.
in their situations with multiple kids, especially multiple babies. We're all having the same conversation of like, what do we do?
Yeah. Well, I think even for, you know, people who aren't military, or maybe, you know, both of them work or something, you know, trying to figure out, and really there is no perfect time, but just trying to think of a window that's like a better time, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's really hard because, I mean, kids are amazing, but it's a big life change. So especially when you're adding on multiple children.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We there's a good, not a good friend, but a woman that I interact with quite a bit here, just in passing, and she has a 2-year-old as well, and then just had twins, and I'm like, oh, mama, like, let me come rub your feet or your tummy or something, because I
have a friend who has 3 boys, and they went for a 4th and are having twins.
Oh.
And she's due, I think she's like 38 weeks, so she's due like any day now. So yeah. But I mean, if she's the type of person that if anybody is going to do it, it would be her.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, the right people are put in those situations.
Totally. And, you know, like people, you do it. And it's the same with, I feel like, birth and
mm-hmm.
all of the other stuff. It's like you get to the point that you don't think I can handle anymore, and then you just can.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's no right answer or secret or anything like that. Like you just, you know, when things happen, you just do it and you deal with it. And
yeah. So tell me, like, with you being home with the 2 boys, like, tell me about your blog and when do you have time for that? And how does that work? And also, like, I also want to hear how you got into it and started it.
Yeah, so I actually got into blogging, oh gosh, like 8 years ago was when I first like dabbled into blogging. When Levi and I first started dating and he was deployed, I kind of started a blog about just dealing with deployment and military life. My dad is actually retired Navy too, so I was kind of used to being around it, but it's different when it's like your significant other going away. Like it's a whole different dynamic and relationship.
Yeah.
So I actually started blogging for that, just to kind of like a cathartic thing for myself. And then I kind of, once he came home, I kind of didn't have a reason to blog anymore, so I kind of forgot about it. And then with, you know, Felix and him being gone again and just being pregnant and wanting to kind of document that, I kind of started it again. So it's been kind of like an on and off thing. And then I probably got back into it, like really seriously getting into it again a few months ago, just to kind of share my experience, because I found that, you know, things that I was going through, other moms and other women were going through. And it was a lot of things that people were talking about, or I didn't see people talking about. So I was like, well, maybe if I talk about it, then I can get someone else to open up. And then it's no longer like this secret thing that I feel like I have to hold on to. So that's really where it's kind of taken off for me. And it's still kind of a bit of a hobby thing right now. It's, you know, I'll think of something to write about and I'll just kind of like whip up a blog real quick during the boys' nap time. And sometimes it takes me a few days to, you know, get one post ready to go, just because I only have pockets of time here and there. But yeah, so right now it's really just something fun for me to do, or to talk about, you know, things that I'm experiencing that I feel like need to be shared more.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
What is like one thing that you have really come in contact with when you talk to other women or when you blog and people give you feedback, and like what's something that they're like, yes, thank you for bringing that up or talking about that?
A lot of things that I shared about, mostly on like my social media and a little bit on my blog, is like body image postpartum is something that I'm really passionate about. Health and fitness is, you know, something that I love and I've loved for a long time. And I've always felt like you see all these things about like, oh, get your body back. And, you know, when that's not really reality for a lot of women. And even for like myself, who I was never like super fit or had a six pack or anything, but I was, you know, pretty in shape, and it still like took me nearly a year after I had Felix to come to a place where I felt really good about myself again. Or, you know, I felt like I was myself in my body again. So really opening up about that and sharing that experience, I've gotten a lot of, you know, a lot of women saying like, oh yeah, I feel this way too. Or, you know, that they, you know, get all this input from other people or society or, you know, wherever about what we should do postpartum or how we should look or anything. And I just really trying to talk about it more, because I don't know, I just wish women didn't beat themselves up so much about how they look or how they feel postpartum about their body. So I think that's the thing that I've gotten the most response about.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think it's so amazing that you're putting that out there, because it is like, you're right. Like women have a hard time with it before they have kids. And then after, it's like, who made up this crazy thing that you're supposed to like get your same body back after you have birthed a human and grown a human? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's not even reality for that.
Yeah. Well, you're just never the same again.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, you can, even if, you know, I lost all the baby weight, which, you know, I am a person who I don't gain a lot of weight when I'm pregnant. I think it's just genetics. I don't know, because I just do and eat whatever I want. So I think I just got lucky.
Yeah.
But it's like I can drop all the baby weight pretty quickly, but like things just still aren't the same.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's so much emphasis on like fitting back into your clothes or like dropping all the weight, but it's like you still don't really feel like it's your body for a while.
Totally.
So I think just, you know, talking about that and changing the expectation of postpartum.
Yeah. So I had the experience, and I'm interested to hear like your experience as well, because I haven't talked on this topic a lot with people. but like, so I had almost an obsession right away with like, oh, I need to work out right away again.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got to a point, I think through just my own self work and getting busy with other things, that I was like, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it was a flip of a switch, that I was like, I don't care what my body looks like. Like, why do I why would I care? I have these little humans that I care for all day. Like, the outside world doesn't even occur to me right now at this
Mm-hmm.
point in my life. And I don't know, it was just recent, and it's just happened, but like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one. Just
No, because I feel exactly the same way. I think after I had my first, I was a little bit more in that, oh, I got to start working out again and I got to fit in my jeans again and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't so obsessed with the way that I looked. I just wanted to feel good again.
yeah. Yeah.
Whereas this time around, I'm kind of like, whatever. Like I work out because it's something that I love to do and I enjoy it, but I'm taking it a lot slower. I'm being a lot more mindful about how I'm moving my body. After my first pregnancy, like I was never checked for diastasis.
Mm.
I didn't even know, like I knew it was a thing, but I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
I had no idea about like pelvic floor function. And then that was a thing that like we should be checking. So I was totally clueless and I just, jumped right back into it. Whereas this time I think I'm a lot more knowledgeable about those things. So I'm really taking my time and just trying to like regain all my strength and my, because you lose all that with having a baby. Your body goes through so many changes that you just like are not normal for a long time.
Totally.
So yeah, so I'm totally in that space right now where I just don't care. And like my jeans don't fit. So I just bought a pair of jeans that are a size bigger. Like, even though I wear them like the few times that I leave the house, I'm pretty much still living in leggings. But but I'm totally right that I just really don't care. I don't know how else to put it.
No, it's such a weird thing, because I guess we spend so much of our lives in that place of caring, and of it being
Mm-hmm.
important to not, I don't know, it's a societal thing, right? Like, it's ingrained.
Mm-hmm.
Can't explain how I felt, other than it was a part of me that needed to fulfill that for other people in
Yeah.
myself. Yeah, and then it switched, and I was just like, that's not, I don't know. Like, I don't have
Well,
anybody to
so
impress.
many other things become more important.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
like now I
exactly.
have two babies and I just don't have the time or the headspace to
Yeah.
worry about it anymore. So it's like I just don't care. And like this is just how I am. And I know that like with time I will, things will change more. Maybe I'll lose more weight, maybe I'll get more back in shape, maybe I won't. I don't know. But I'm just kind of doing what feels right. And I think, or I wish that's something that more women, I don't know, I wish more people or more women felt that way, like that it was okay to just kind of let it go
Totally.
and just kind of do what feels good instead of doing what they think they should do.
That's the
You know what I
revolution
mean?
you should start. It's like, let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, totally. So, like, I love that you mentioned, like, you learned how to do things the right way. How did you learn? And like,
Really, it was just following people on Instagram. I don't know how, I honestly can't say how I came across them, but there's just different accounts that I've found through, I think, various like fitness account, like prenatal fitness accounts and things like that, that just kind of led me down this rabbit hole of, wanting to find out more. And what was I going to say? Oh, sorry, mom brain for a second. But I actually, since I had a different care provider this time, since we moved before I got pregnant, I had a midwife for this birth versus having a doctor. Not saying that one is better than the other, but just my experience was different. She actually checked me for diastasis and checked my pelvic floor function at my postpartum checkup, which I had zero experience with that before as well. So
yeah, that's huge, because so I read a book by Tammy Lynn Kent, called Wild Feminine, before I got pregnant. And so, like, that was the only awareness that they had of the pelvic floor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to see a practitioner before I got pregnant and kind of learned about it that way. But otherwise, I would have no idea. And I came by that book through other means, like through other routes, and,
Mm-hmm.
and journaling, and like it was not even through pregnancy prenatal stuff. Like nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
Nobody at all.
Well, I think the only thing people really talk about is like peeing yourself after you have a baby.
Right.
And I never had that experience, but like I knew that wasn't right. I was like, that's not supposed to happen. And so I think I'm a person that like I have to research everything. So like when things come up in my pregnancy, I'm like, oh, I have to know everything about everything. So I think maybe I was like looking, doing some research on that. And like, even though it's common, it's not normal. So like led me down this rabbit hole of like wanting to find out more about, pelvic floor function. And I had no idea that pelvic floor physical therapists even existed until, within this last year. Like, it's just crazy, all this stuff that isn't talked about or that nobody knows about that's out there that I wish, more women knew about.
Totally. Well, and it's just makes it even more important that you are talking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you'll reach those people that will say like, what is that?
Yeah.
Say like, what in the world is she even talking about? Is there so much, like we even talk about with the bras where it's like, I didn't know that leaking was a thing. Like, we just don't talk about stuff that's pretty with pregnancy, and nothing about birth is pretty.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The baby that you get at the end, but it's like these things need to be talked about, and it's awesome that you're doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what would you like for someone that is going to have a baby or is newly postpartum, what would you tell them to do or to start to look into or start to research? Or
I would definitely just, as far as, your body function goes, if they're exercising, I would say definitely, you always want to talk to your doctor about everything. But there are so many great resources out there for like safe prenatal exercises, which is something that I really looked into because I knew I was going to work out my whole pregnancy and I didn't want to make things worse. I think that even though your doctor says, well, you can just continue whatever you're doing if you were exercising before, but there are things that can make things like diastasis worse for you if you do them, which I don't know if a lot of people know about it or not. Yeah. But so I would definitely say look into, pregnancy safe exercises if that's something you're going to continue doing, and asking your doctor about it. So they might not know to check, like I said, so after I had Felix, I didn't even get a pelvic exam at my postpartum visit, and I didn't know any better. I didn't know that, I probably should have asked for one just to make sure everything was okay. But I didn't have any complications with his birth. So I was just like, okay, everything's fine. Like I can just move on with my life. Yeah. And even though everything seems fine, it might not be. And even with Riker, like I had seen a few videos on how to check yourself for diastasis. And so I did, but I didn't really know if I did it right. So luckily my midwife checked me and she was like, oh yeah, you have like a little bit of a separation, which I wouldn't have known. I thought, oh, again, I'm fine. So I think asking your care provider about things like that is really important. And even if they don't know, hopefully they can refer you to someone who does. And, the beauty of the internet is there's tons of information at our fingertips as well. So I use Google a lot to just kind of find out more about those things. And there's tons of great people sharing about it, like on Instagram and social media and things like that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so where can people find you? Like on social, read your blog, ask you questions, connect with
you? So I'm mostly active on Instagram. My Instagram is Meggy Drake, so MEGGYDRAKE. And then my blog is themamareal.com, which is also linked on my Instagram page.
Okay. And we'll put up a link as well.
Awesome.
That people can just click and find you that way. But is there anything else that you want to share with people before we go, like any piece of wisdom or love or anything?
Yeah, I would just say, to anyone who is maybe a new mom or even a repeat mom to just, there's a lot of, I think, gut feeling that we get through motherhood, and a lot of it is right. And we get all this input from other people that we should be doing things a certain way. And we're like, oh, well, I don't know. My instinct is telling me I should do something else, but we think we just need to go along with what other people are telling us. And I would just encourage moms to really follow their instinct and their gut, because they're probably right. And just remember that it's, you're the mom and they're your babies, and whatever you're choosing to do for them is probably the right way. It's, we don't all mother the same way. I know my way of mothering is a lot different from my best friend's way of mothering, or even the way my mom raised me. Like, I do things a little bit differently. So really, you just kind of have to find what works for you and your family, and just feel empowered in your decisions, because I know there's so much doubt that comes with being a mom, especially with being a new mom. So just don't worry about doing things right, because there is no right way to do it. You just kind of have to do what's right for you, if that makes sense.
Totally. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll post your stuff. And if you guys want to connect with Megan, if you have any questions, definitely check out her blog, her Instagram. I can tell you, I absolutely love, like, it's so supportive. Like, the stuff that you put on there is just like, it always makes my heart just like, oh,
thank you.
Thank you for putting that together.
No, that means a lot. Thank you. And my favorite thing about Instagram is connecting with new moms, or, other women and other moms. So I would definitely, like, anybody who wants to come be my Instagram friend, I'm all for it.
I know it's a real thing, because it's like, social media has its drawbacks, but it's also, like you said, there are ways that you can seek out the people that you're looking for, and
yep,
awesome women that are gonna help each other through this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Do that. Let's build that.
That's
awesome.
For sure.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, it was awesome talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was so much fun.